All of Lotor's generals have something unique. Wait a minute, is she a warg? Is Nadia a warg? I think she's a warg. Welcome to the heart of the stories we tell. My name is Rob, and tonight I will be reviewing Voltron Season 2, Episodes 2, 3, and 4. We're going to break the season in half because I already did a Episode 1 video. We're going to handle Red Paladin, Haunted, and Hide in the Sky. I will say, from the beginning of the episodes, I said something was going to happen, and I was very surprised at how quickly they handled it. But they also still kind of dragged their feet a little bit with a few other things. Still really enjoying the show. Still think it's really worthy of a gold rating. But at the same time, there are a few flaws. I'll try to point them out as we go. Although, maybe not as many flaws as the original series had. Yeah, that one doesn't 100% hold up. Just remember, all magic and technology might as well be interchangeable at this point. But let's throw this up here and get started with the reviews. So once again, it's stop. Spoiler time. So each of these episodes really focuses in on what's going on and gives us an idea of how this war is going to go. But we're going to start off with Episode 2, entitled The Red Paladin. I'm a little surprised by the title, to be honest, because they have a really great one in the episode. Glorious Burden. That's what I would have named this episode. It starts off with the Voltron force wanting to figure out who can pilot Black Lion. And of course, as the title gives away, we already know who's going to be piloting Black Lion. Keith. Okay, he wants to turn down the call at first, but that's just part of the hero's journey. We then go to Lotor and his group, though, and that's where my opening statement comes from. Lotor's generals are kind of like the anti-paladins, because each one has their own unique capability. In fact, I'm totally going to call them the anti-paladins from this point forward, because that's a cool name. But one of them, Nadia, can see through the eyes of her cat, and I don't know if it's just her cat, if it's a mystical bond, or like a familiar, or if it's an innate racial ability she has. But in Game of Thrones, that ability is one of the most powerful. A telepathic ability to assume your senses with that of an animal is called warging. And it's pretty badass if you think about it. Just think about all the scouting you could do. Notwithstanding if you bonded with something that was combat capable, but that cat is going to be a big problem going forward. Meanwhile, back at the castle, I have to say I actually laughed when Karan did the whole pick a number, okay, she's going first. Don't we get to pick the number? Why, I already know it. I should be used to that sort of joke from him by now. But the big push here is that Princess Allura wants to be a paladin. And as we discussed before, technically Princess Allura was one of the Knights of Voltron in the original series. So as much as I was hoping for a bit of a surprise, I'm glad they didn't hold out. If they had done this sort of swap around after giving us several episodes of waiting to see who it was, I would have been upset. But let's go over the new status quo. The leader in Black Lion is now the Red Paladin, Keith. And remember, Keith's half Galra, but that left the Red Lion open. The Red Lion, the right hand of the team. And so that went to Lance, the Blue Paladin. But of course that then left the Blue Lion completely without a pilot. And who's the Blue Lion? Well, we could have guessed it. Princess Allura. Now, either way, that leaves only two of the original people with their original lions. And I kind of think that's cool. The fact is that as people grow, they change, and the lions adapt to that. Now, Lotor himself came up with the fact that, hey, there's no Black Lion, and with no Black Lion, they can't form Voltron. Unfortunately for him, they had already been working on it, and the writers didn't stretch it out, so he was kind of screwed with that plan. I do also like the fact that we're slowly getting personalities for his generals, who, from now on, I'm totally calling the anti-paladins. Like I said before, the entire racial problem is one that I expect to be fully questioned as the season goes on. But as far as Episode 2 goes, we have a kick-ass fight sequence, we have Lotor being a bit of a battle commander, and a pretty smart one at that, because he picks up on all the flaws. But what did you think? Was there anything in this episode that you did or didn't like? It was funny and interesting, and overall, one of the better ones. Just in general, they're hitting these out of the park. And that brings us to episode 3, The Hunted. And with a name like The Hunted, I expected it to be that the lions were on the run. The fact that it was Lotor was awesome. I also have to say, I like the fact that Lotor is a genius, although there was a little bit of plot armor involved in how he beat the lions in the first part of the battle. I have to say, and this kind of annoys me, we've seen Voltron lions rip through fighters. Taking a single fighter against the lions was suicidally stupid. But he survives, not because of any particular plan or strategy, just, nope, the plot says so. Having said that, it was a really great tactic to lure them into the place, a la Star Trek 2. Hey, if everybody's sensors are down, you're pretty screwed. And I like the fact that Keith fell for it. Because point blank, if Keith hadn't kept his hot head and kept the fact of how he was acting, I would have been very disappointed. Lance and Allura are both still trying to learn their lines, and I loved the whole joke where Lance is like, does this thing have brakes? Because each one handles differently. So that really means there are only 2 full-fledged paladins right now, because Hunk and Pidge are the only ones who are used to flying their lions. And of course, for the big spectacular finale of the episode, we have them do what we thought earlier in the episode was impossible. We form Voltron, and form a blazing sword. Now this might sound a little contradictory, because I said that I liked that they don't always have to form him. But you know what? This was a great fist-pumping, yeah! And now we've got the team back together. Keith has learned his lesson, one Lotor already knows, not to rush off into battle. And just in time for episode 4, Hole in the Sky. My first thought on this episode when they said that they were detecting an anomaly and the signal was coming in, I really thought it was going to be a black hole. On the edge of the black hole, the time dilation, it's a sci-fi trope classic. But nope, they went the other direction. Non-Euclidean mathematics. The idea of universes existing outside of ours. And instantly I was pumped. Hey, is this going to be Voltron vs. Cthulhu? Because I really want to see Voltron vs. Cthulhu. But no Cthulhu for me. Instead we get Sven, alternate version of Shiro. As we move into the other sci-fi trope, parallel dimensions. And I will point out, last season when we rescued Weird Bug Guy, we did already have the precedent for there being alternate realities. This isn't just any alternate dimension, it's the Mirror Mirror universe. And they actually set up a rather good dynamic in it. The Alteans have brought peace to the galaxy. How did they do it? Well, they did it by stripping personal freedoms. So, now you have this question, and it's a very timely one. In fact, it's a theme that's very symbolic. Do you want to trade your freedom for peace? Would you trade peace for freedom? Do you want to have people killing people because they choose to? Or do you want to just stop everyone from being able to kill people? Now, the episode continues on, and it really drops the ball. I really thought for a second there, especially when the princess said, hey, these might be our strongest allies, that there would be a little bit of, hey, what do we do? What's the right choice? But no moral decision needs to be weighed at all here. They just know what's right and what's wrong. And it's a kid's cartoon. Also, how did Lotor plan this? He had no idea what was on the other side of that energy thing. So for all he knew, he was giving them more allies. Oh well, sometimes luck favors the prepared mind, I guess. Also, beside using the name Sven, there was another great Easter egg to the original series. When Shiro jumps in the way of Lance and takes the shot, and then falls over her, and Lance is all like, oh my god, are you going to be okay? That version of Shiro, who's going by the name Sven, says, I'll be fine, just get me to a space hospital. Now that's a big joke, because Go Lion had Sven die. But in the US, when they brought it over, they decided that was too violent. So he was fine, he just made it to a space hospital. So that's my review up to episode 4. I'm going to watch episode 5 right after I get out of work tonight, and then maybe I'll put up another review tonight, I'm not sure. But for now, I'm still enjoying the series, even if there were a moment or two here or there where I don't get to quite enjoy it as much as I could. Now, having said that, this new origin of the metal that forms Voltron could be a very interesting way of looking into things. Do you think that Zarkon was trying to build his own Voltron? What if Lotor's trying to do the same? Maybe nicknaming these guys the Anti-Paladins was closer to the mark than I thought. But those are my thoughts up till now. What about yours? Let me know down in the comment section, because one of the most fun things about YouTube is that we can do this interactively. And I know I've said it every year, but you know what? The most fun part about Voltron is still its opening sequence. I love the fact that they got Voltron to just cut open the moon like that for the DreamWorks logo. If you like my crazy theories and ideas, though, now would be a great time to like and share this video, or subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that alerts button, because I'm trying to build a community here. One where we can examine what it means to be a storyteller and what it means to tell a story. All the ifs and hows and whys. Let me know what you think, and hit those buttons so that you can join me next time as we take a walk through the heart of the stories we tell. Have a good day.